Crimson Trace offers a full line of protection-oriented products, including red laser sights, green laser sights, and tactical weapon lights to elevate your confidence in moments that matter. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, just how many guns are there in the U.S.? The National Shooting Sports Foundation breaks it down. Plus, what the new year will bring for Ohio's most active gun rights group and more. As always, call 866-TALK-GUN with your comments, questions, and range reports. And now, here's Tom.
All right, let's talk about some guns. We've got a lot of new guns coming out, a lot of cool things going on. I just sold a bunch of guns. Yeah, I know people say, don't sell guns. Well, it's okay to sell guns if you're going to buy more guns. At least that's my rationalization. So, hey, by the way, I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk, where we're going to be talking about guns and shooting and ammunition and cool stuff. And it's just a few days before Christmas. And still time. Still time. There's all kind of good deals out there at your local gun store. A lot of things going on. We'll talk about that. Also, there's some new guns coming out that we can talk about. I know. I've been talking about kind of the fact that there are new guns coming out, and I couldn't talk about them. There's still some we can't talk about, but we will certainly be letting you know about some of the new ones that have just been announced this week. Wow. Some really hot stuff, some cool things going on. Also, looking for your thoughts. Guns for Christmas. I just saw another story. Let's see, this one was an article written by an emergency room doctor who says guns are a bad idea for gifts. If you saw what I saw in the emergency room, you would know that guns are a bad idea for gifts for people. Yana, 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 yana. I get it. If that's all your exposure, if that's all you know, then that's all you know. If all you ever see is the bad side of firearms ownership, accidents, and criminal misuse of guns, you think that's all there is. But if you were to take a little bit more rounded view, you would say, oh, gee, let's look at the numbers. 6,000 times a year, not a year, not a month, not a week, but 6,000 times a day people use guns in self-defense in the United States. Yes, that's about 3 million times a year. No, you don't hear about it on the news. Most of the time, 99% of the time, nobody has to fire a shot. It is persuasive, I will just tell you. It is persuasive when you point a gun at a bad guy. He often decides to go away. Win-win. That works. 6,000 times a day, people use guns to stop crime, to protect themselves. Women protect themselves from domestic violence. Women protect themselves from carjackers, from rapists, from people who are trying to kidnap their children. 6,000 times a day. And this jackleg doctor is wanting to tell us, no, guns are a bad idea. You don't need those because they're really only used to hurt people. We don't really know how many rounds are fired a day in the United States, but certainly not 1 million. It's upwards beyond 10 million. Yes, 10 million rounds a day. Wow. That's not putting a whole lot of people in the emergency rooms, is it? Not 10 million. When I see people like that, I just wonder, where are you coming from? What's your background? Are you that lazy? Honestly, are you that lazy to not do your research? To say, well, in my experience, I don't really care what your experience is, because that's not exactly indicative of what the situation is. You have a very specific set of experiences. Part of it, of course, is the intellectual/elite idea of I will tell you how to run your life because I'm smarter than you. I have letters behind my name. I have more years of schooling than you do, and therefore I must help you because you're just not capable of taking care of yourself. So there is that. On the other hand, in a bit, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where we're headed in 2020. A lot of things going on. It's going to be, I'm dubbing it the year of the big gunfight. I hope it's just a political fight. The year of the big gunfight, 2020. We'll talk about that. Tell you what, when we come back, I want to allow a lot of time for our guests. We're going to be talking about a new gun and actually, interesting enough, a new cartridge. A lot of things going on here. Gun Talk here. I'm Tom Gresham. Would love to get your range reports. If you've been shooting something, buying something, or thinking about buying something, call me. Let's talk about it. The number here is 866-TALK-GUN. We'll be right back.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at TimneyTriggers.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday night special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so that this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
You need a shotgun. You really do. Home defense, hunting, tactical, target, competition. Mossberg. Yes, Mossberg. That's all you need to know. Pumps, autos, over-unders, extended mags, detachable box mags, sights, slings, 12, 20, 28, and 410. Wood synthetic, rugged metal coatings. And of course, the revolutionary Shockwave. Not technically a shotgun, but it's awesome. Short, powerful, and life-saving. Making rugged guns for Americans for 100 years. Find your shotgun at Mossberg.com.
Hey, welcome back to Gun Talk, 866-TALK-GUN, or call me at Tom Talk Gun. Our good friends over at 6 Sauer up to it again. They turn loose their goofy, crazy, whacked-out engineers. I think they lock them into a room and they just keep sliding pizzas underneath the door until something really cool comes out, and then, boy, did it ever. Patrick Hanley joins us right now from 6 Sauer. Patrick, you guys have been up to something, man.
Yeah, that's to say the least, Tom. I think we've been it's been a busy week for us. We had a couple of launches this week, and obviously the big one being the Cross that we brought out.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the Cross. Well, let me explain to people if they haven't seen it, haven't heard about it. It is at first. Is this the first bolt action that SIG has brought out of their own production, their own design?
So because of the company being owned by Sauer and Blaser in the past, the company has had branded bolt-action rifles.
Okay.
But this rifle specifically was designed and is being manufactured in our New Hampshire plant. So this is, it's really our first, it's our first bolt-action rifle, I would say.
All right, when you first look at the picture, you think, oh, an AR. And you go, wait, what's that? Oh, that's a bolt. It's a bolt-action. It's a bolt-action AR, except it's not an AR. And then you go, well, wait, it's got an adjustable length of pull. Oh, it's also got an adjustable cheek piece that goes up and down. And what? It folds. The thing folds to it can go down to like 27-inch total length. It could go in a backpack. It would be great for hiking, for hunting, maybe for a bug-out bag. Why the Cross? What is this all about?
So we actually have a very large group of bolt-action shooters at SIG, even though the company hasn't had it. This was probably the most passionate project I've worked on since I've been here by a long shot, because we have former Delta snipers. We have Daniel Horner, who's one of the best PRS shooters in the world. We have people all around that place that are bolt gun shooters. So we dragged everybody into a room when we started having these conversations, and it was, what is the need in the marketplace? And from the perspective of, a rifle that can do both, hence the name Cross, as a precision rifle and a hunting rifle, our goal was to have something that would be super accurate. So we went around the basis of a one-piece receiver rather than having some type of bedding system, because the one-piece receiver essentially eliminates any chance of action screws loosening or anything like that. You basically, if your barrel is accurate, your gun is accurate. It simplifies so you're using an extension with an aluminum receiver, so it minimizes the chance of the gun having any sort of loss of accuracy through loose parts in the gun. So there's things that, like, were basically the dreams of all these guys working there of what they would have thought the ultimate gun would be. So then we looked at the weight, and we got the weight down to 6.5 pounds. And the reason we did that was because we wanted this genuinely to be able to be used as a hunting rifle, and we know that we can go back and add weight, which we've already done with some of the things that we're creating for heavy barrels and different components that will go on that will increase the weight of the gun. So you can still have a PRS version of this gun, but we started light and then made it big rather than trying to go the other way and putting it on a diet. It was much easier to start with a basis of the lightest, smallest gun possible, and then we can grow it for PRS shooting. So the name Cross was derived around it being a hybrid of sorts to be a hunting rifle and a precision rifle.
All right, at 6.5 pounds, that makes it a fairly lightweight bolt-action rifle. I mean, and typically we have all understood that if you really want a lightweight rifle, you're going to give up something, and one of the first things you give up is accuracy. So how's it shoot?
Yep. It shoots absolutely amazing. And like I said, the reason for that being, if you look at a lot of the bolt-action rifles that look like this on the market, they're usually based off of a design where you're limited by the whatever you're using for a receiver. So say you use a Model 700 or some type of receiver that you have, and then you drop it into a chassis. Now, like I was just saying, you have additional connection points, but you're also limited to what you can do for the design of the rifle. So with this rifle, we were able to utilize it's an AR style extension, but it's using 3 locking lugs. So you have an incredibly tight lockup. You have a short bolt throw. And it basically, like I said, that extension with just that barrel, all your accuracy is contained into the front of the gun. So it shoots as accurate as that barrel is, the gun is accurate.
Just describe this folding stock, because that is intriguing.
So that was part of that whole size thing. So we basically went to a push-button folding stock. So you push a button on the knuckle, it allows it to fold. It locks the bolt handle in place. So if you're a hunter carrying it on your back or in the side of a pack, it allows you to contain that bolt so it's not going to open on you while you're walking in. But realistically, what we wanted last year when we were out on an elk hunt, me and one of the other product managers were talking about, what a pain it is when you, especially a suppressed bolt rifle, how long it gets.
Yes.
You get to that point where you're slinging it and you're carrying it and it's banging off your legs and it's hitting every tree branch walking through the woods. And we wanted something that when we compacted it down and put it into a backpack, you were essentially flush with your pack and size. So we designed this thing to be that. And then we also came out with a cartridge that's part of that, too, that allows us to still maintain those ballistics while having that size.
Well, that kind of leads us to the next big thing, which is, and people, of course, you've heard it already, people are going, oh, yeah, right, the world needs a new rifle cartridge, right? Except that sometimes it actually does. So what is it?
Yep. So it's a cartridge, but I would actually say this is going to be a very innovative family of cartridges. So 277 SIG Fury will be the first cartridge that we launch in what we call a 3-piece case. So we have a stainless head on the back of this cartridge. If you can envision, the back of the cartridge itself is stainless, and then there's a collar that locks it to the front portion which is brass. So you're able to basically have a cartridge with the stainless in the back that will maintain a much higher pressure. So if you think of like your standard cartridges on the market that do 60,000 PSI or 66,000 in your Magnums, we're cranking these things up over 80, right around 80, just a hair over. So what it's allowing us to do is this 277 is 140 grain, 6.8 bullet. and you're coming out of the muzzle over 3,000 feet per second in a 16-inch barrel. So you're getting an incredibly fast gun because of these pressures we're able to achieve. And this was based off of military technology we've been working on for the Army for the last couple of years. And we started pulling our heads together as to like, hey, this is something that offers a lot to the commercial market as well. Because, like I said, we'll be able in the future to have other bullet types in this, 6.5, 30 cal. We'll have a whole bunch of different offerings that we can do in this that allows us to take these shorter actions with shorter barrels and give you these high-speed Magnum guns without having the length.
And this cartridge is called the 277 SIG Fury.
Correct.
I'm assuming not reloadable, right?
We're looking at some ways. There will probably down the road be reloadable. We will have it so it is reloadable. Like I said, it is brass. On the front end of it, you are also able to. We have some stuff in the works that'll potentially make this reloadable. However, we will be. Everybody always gets. I do too. Whenever you hear that term, proprietary cartridge, they all will be proprietary cartridges to SIG. However, we are putting them right now through the process of SAMI. We want these to be available to everybody out there. The only reason they're proprietary is we're increasing the pressure so high that with a lot of older guns in the market, if I make a 308 version of this and a 308 Win, it could be put into rifles that are much, much older. So a proprietary nature is strictly based on that, but we are going to try to make sure that every manufacturer has access to this because we want this to be the technology of the future. This three-piece is going to allow for really, really, really cool things coming down the road.
Now, SIG, of course, is an ammunition company, so are you guys going to be doing the loading on this yourselves?
Yes, we are making this 100% down in our plant in Arkansas. We have our guys have been down there. They're our engineering team down there are the ones who designed this cartridge for the Army, and the same guys who are working on it and developing it with a hunting bullet and a match-grade bullet for the commercial market.
And we also should mention that the new Cross rifle is also available in other calibers, right? Which ones?
It is. So we have 6.5 Creedmoor, and we have 308. We did the 308 in a 16-inch barrel, and we did the Creedmoor in an 18-inch barrel. And, the theory behind that was to also still keep that rifle compact. And, a lot of the guys that we have, like I mentioned, that work there that have come from other places that are snipers, I think we like having the little bit of extra ballistics that you get out of a longer barrel. Mm-hmm. But we remember that we have guys all over the world that are snipers that are out there with 18-inch barrels because they know where they're achieving their maximum ballistics before they start getting minimal gains. And that's really what we went back and had some of our guys go look at overall lengths, and the amount of speed you can gain to those barrel lengths is significant enough that you're only gaining, a few hundred feet per second as you go all the way out to 24. So it gives you a shorter, more compact rifle, especially if you put a suppressor on it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and these all come with threaded barrels.
They do. They're all threaded. They're all using our SIG taper that we have on there for alignment. So they're all set up, ready to go. We were running this year hunting. We had we took them out with 10 baffle titanium cans. It keeps it super light, and the length is down, and it's plenty to take that noise off when you're out hunting.
All right. Well, you went hunting with it, so tell me about your hunt. What'd you get?
We went out. We had quite a group. We actually did a 10-day long DIY backcountry hunt with a bunch of people from SIG to go put these things through the works out in Colorado. Mm-hmm. It was a really rough year out there, and we ended up pulling out 4 really good bolts off the public lands out there with these guns. And there'll be a lot of video coming out in the next month or two showing some of the hunts and stuff. But we wanted to basically go abuse these guns and test the theories that we had before we produced the final models to get all the final kinks out of it. And 10 days living with your gun in the woods is the best way to do that because you learn a whole lot of things you like and you don't like quickly.
I bet you did. I bet you come back and say, okay, guys, this is good, but, and here's the list, right?
Well, first I ate a lot when I got back, and then, yes, I did that afterwards.
All right, so two quick questions that people are asking. One is, when's it going to be available? And 2, what's the price?
So it's going to be available. We're going to start showing it at SHOT Show, the first run of it, and then we'll start manufacturing it. We will have these hitting shelves in June of this year. Okay. And the price is probably one of the things that I think we're the happiest about, because every part on this gun is 100% SIG Sauer designed and manufactured. So we're not buying any components that fit other brands of guns and bringing them in. Everything on this is our own design. So it allowed us, using our own manufacturing, to be able to make an all-metal gun at an affordable price. So $15.99 will be what you'll actually see these on the shelf at. So yeah, it kept it very, very affordable. So having that ability to be able to do this in our plant in New Hampshire makes a big, big difference, having everything done there.
$15.99. I see. I've been seeing guesses online over the last couple of days. People saying, "Oh, $2,500, maybe upwards of $3,000." So that is astounding. Now that's MSRP too, right?
Yes, it is. And like I said, once you start going and you're putting yourself into a position where you're designing your own gun from scratch, there's a lot of things when you have manufacturing engineers and design engineers that you can make the best gun possible nowadays, and you can basically keep that cost significantly lower by starting from scratch rather than working off of other people's parts and pieces that have been in the industry for 20 years.
You're not having to cover somebody else's markup on parts.
Exactly.
It really is. So it's called the Cross. You also have the 277. Was there anything else that came out this week that I missed?
The only other one that we had, which has been driving us crazy, we've been getting so many phone calls, we brought out some surplus M17s. I don't know if you guys saw these things hit.
Oh, my gosh, those are amazing.
We weren't sure if they were going to sell when we got a whole bunch of them back from the Army to go ahead and do, and it's just been, this week has been very, very busy leading into the holiday at SIG.
Okay, for those who don't know, it's the M17. These are guns that were used by the military. They've been in the sandbox. They've come back. This is kind of the first run from the military, and because of a reason they wanted to standardize on some parts, these came back, and it is almost a once-in-a-lifetime chance in modern days to get guns that actually are surplus. Amazing stuff. Where do they go for information on that, Patrick?
Where do they go for what now?
For information on the M17 and that.
Oh, you want to go right to sigsauer.com. On the front page, you'll see the listing for the M17. It'll pull you right to the page, and it'll tell you about these limited runs of guns that we have that are going out right now, and they are selling very, very quick.
They are. I would say do not hesitate. These things are going to fly, and they're going to be gone. And you're going to say, boy, I wish I'd known. Well, you know what? We just told you about it. Patrick, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You guys are busy, man.
We are. We're keeping ourselves busy.
Yes, you are. All right, I will see you in Las Vegas at the SHOT Show and the SIG event.
Looking forward to it, Tommy. Have a great holiday.
You too. Take care. Wow, cool stuff, huh? Amazing. I tell you what, when we come back, let's talk about what's going on in the firearms industry as a whole, because there's news out there. This is going to be the year. 2020 is going to be something else. Be right back.
On Gun Talk, 1911 is more than a date. It's an icon. Now, here's Tom.
Well, you know how I feel about the 1911. Everybody ought to have at least one. If you're new to shooting, if you just came in the age of the plastic fantastic Glock-ish type of handguns, if you've never fired a 1911, you owe it to yourself to find out what it's all about. Man, they're just cool. They shoot really well, and they have the best trigger, period. They just have the best trigger, which is what we love about it so much. So, you know, I don't know what it is exactly. I don't know how big it is. There definitely is some kind of renewed interest in retro, classic, whatever you call it. I'm looking at the big success from Henry Repeating Arms with their lever actions, running ads all over the country. Manufacturers are telling me that sales of revolvers is going back up. People are interested in cool old guns. And I don't know if it's like a new generation just discovering those or what's going on, but pretty interesting anyway. Yeah, anyway. When we talk about what's going on in the firearms industry with gun companies, people who make guns, people who sell guns, there is an organization that is the trade organization for the firearms industry. And no, it's not the NRA. It's the National Shooting Sports Foundation. We are very fortunate to be joined by the president of NSSF, Joe Bartozzi, joins us right now. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Tom, great. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Now, Truth in Advertising here. I am on the board of directors, board of governors of the NSSF. I'm the new guy, the new kid on the block there. They let me hang out with them. But it has been a wonderful, of course, I've been working with NSSF, Joe, for, 25 years or more. doing different kind of projects. I was at the very first Project Child Safe event 20 years ago in Baton Rouge.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's been a long run, for sure.
It has been. When you are asked by somebody to describe what is the NSSF, what do you tell them?
Well, we're the trade association for the firearms industry. So we promote the lawful commerce in firearms, ammunition, and accessories. We lobby. We advocate for the industry. We do a lot of educational programs. But at the end of the day, we're a trade association, and our job is to protect the jobs that the industry provides.
And there are a lot of jobs in the industry. It is a large industry. I mean, there are certainly much, much larger industries, but it's an iconic industry with iconic names of these companies. But the other thing is, NSSF does a lot of things that, and we've talked about this in the past. I think it does a lot of really good things that people don't know about. And I'm not talking about just the media that chooses to ignore it, but actually some folks in the gun world don't know of all the great programs you have. And I've decided that 2020 is the year of everybody getting involved. 2020 is when I call it the year of the big gunfight, whether it's political or what's going on. People got to stand up, show up, be there. I'm watching what's going on in Virginia with 2,000 people showing up at county meetings. And part of that is people trying to find a way, how can I get involved? How can I help? And I turn that over to you because NSSF has programs for that.
Right. We have a number of great programs. And the fact of the matter is that these programs are saving lives. The number of accidents is down. The criminal misuse of firearms is down. We're working on programs to prevent suicide with firearms. Of course, you mentioned Project Child Safe. That's 20 years and 38 million free safety kits handed out. We've got testimonials from mayors all over the country and other community partners that testify that by providing this information and a free gun lock, it starts the conversation about safe storage when guns are not being used. And again, we see accidents declining with firearms over the 20 years that Child Safe has been around. We've got things like Operation Secure Store, which prevents robberies and burglaries from gun shops. It's been a problem. ATF reached out to us and said, hey, is something you can do to reach out to your members? And sure enough, we have. And I'm proud to say that the numbers over the last 3 years this program has been in effect are dropping. So we're seeing fewer guns getting into the criminal element's hands because they're not being robbed as frequently or burglarized as frequently as they have been in the past.
That's big.
So we've got a bunch of great initiatives. I mean, Fix NICS, we changed the law in 16 states to get the criminal background records and the mental health records into the system. 16 states that now have better and complete records so that when someone goes to a gun shop to buy a gun, they can be either passed or disqualified with accurate information. So we're very proud of these things. It's very important that people know the things the industry is doing to protect the community at large. And frankly, it's offensive when folks don't acknowledge the great things that we've been doing.
You touch on something that's near to my heart. We get people who say, you people just don't care. You're not doing anything about it. And then we want to say, well, we're the ones who have been doing something about it. We have reduced accidental gunshot deaths. We've reduced accidental gunshot deaths of children. We've reduced gun thefts. We've reduced murders with guns. You just go all the way down the line. It's interesting to me that how the media sometimes wants to portray the firearms industry as being somehow in opposition to the law enforcement community. And think about Project Child Safe. For those who don't know, those programs are run through the local police departments. That's who works with us to give away these 38 million gun locks we've given away.
Over 15,000 law enforcement agencies around the country and in the U.S. territories. So it's not just the 50 U.S. states, it's also the U.S. territories have promoted, and the law enforcement folks in these communities are the ones handing out these locks. So, yeah, it's a big deal, and we ought to make sure that people know that we are partnering to do the right thing and to keep people safe.
Well, I like that old definition I use of public relations, which is doing good and getting credit for it. We do good, but it's a struggle to get credit for it. We're talking with Joe Bartozzi from the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Joe, can you hold on a second with us here?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, let's do this. We'll take a quick break. When I come back, NSSF has some ways that you can get involved and you can help out because a lot of people are saying, okay, I'm convinced I want to do something, but what do I do? Where can I get help with this? Well, help is on the way. Actually, it's available right now. If you'd like to be a part of this conversation, by all means, give us a shout. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
It's America's favorite .22 rifle. No matter how, where, or what you like to shoot, there's a Ruger 1022 for you. From the carbine to the incredible takedown models, the tactical and target versions, all Ruger 1022 models have the legendary action and detachable 10-round rotary magazine. Whether you're hunting squirrels or tin cans, there's a lifetime of fun in every Ruger 1022 rifle. See them all at Ruger.com. That's Ruger.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. Shopguntalk.com.
Mental health and guns. At Walk the Talk America, we are working with both the mental health community and the gun industry. Created by a gun industry veteran, Walk the Talk America seeks to raise awareness and create change through suicide prevention and firearm safety without legislation. We strive to eliminate the prejudice that firearms and mental health face. For more information and to support Walk the Talk America, please visit walkthetalkamerica.org.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
You know, for a long time I've been encouraging people to get involved politically on the Second Amendment side of things. And for some people, that sounds good, and they will do that. For other people, they just don't want to get involved in politics. But there are other ways that you can help out in the Second Amendment fight. And you know, you think about what can we do? Well, we can increase safety. We can increase responsibility. We can help people learn about safe gun storage. We can teach people to shoot. We can take people out to the range to shoot. And people say, well, then, okay, great. How do I do that? How do I start with that? Well, we're talking with Joe Bartozzi. He is the president and incoming CEO of the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Joe, NSSF has a way to help, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few programs that we have. And really the point here and the key here is education. What we're really looking for is the folks, the men and women out there, that when they get confronted by their colleagues, their friends and neighbors and family about, you know, why are you a hunter, why are you a shooter, we want them to be armed with information and facts about what the industry really is doing. So things like Operation Secure Store, we talked about Project Child Safe, we talked about the Plus One initiative to get more people out and enjoying hunting and shooting sports and doing it safely and responsibly. And by the way, the more hunters and shooters, the more excise tax dollars that creates, which creates more habitat and wildlife restoration programs through the Pittman-Robertson Fund. I mean, there's an awful lot of great things that come with buying a hunting license or buying even a box of ammo. It all supports wildlife, whether you're a hunter or not a hunter. It's great information. We talked about fixed nicks. So really, the key is getting educated on some of the industry's initiatives and programs so that you can be able to speak positively about the industry and the initiatives it's doing. The other thing I would say, Tom, and you touched on a little bit about not being political or maybe getting involved in some other way, but really is our Gun Vote initiative. Gun Vote is a program that we have to educate people about the candidates' positions on firearms. Of course, we encourage everybody, please get out there, register to vote. And when the election day comes, get out there and vote your rights, because once gone, rights do not come back. So we have a website dedicated to the election upcoming, and you can go to gunvote.org, and you can click on and see all the positions that the candidates have taken, and get yourself informed and ready to make a good, informed vote when you get there on Election Day.
You know, you mentioned something that gets glossed over all the time is, are you registered to vote? And one of the things I heard several years ago, it astounded me. They said that just looking at NRA members, who you'd think would be very politically astute, they said half the NRA members are not registered to vote. And what, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's very surprising because they're such an important voting bloc, and there are many of those are single-issue voters. And the power of the NRA is the members, right? It's the members that make the NRA what it is, really, and that voting bloc is crucial to protecting and preserving our rights.
Well, you know, what that tells me is that if that's true, then half the gun owners are not registered to vote. So before we can actually get anywhere with this, we've got to register. I just went to your the website, gunvote.org. One of the first things that pops up is a link to register to vote or to vote absentee. So if you don't know if you're registered to vote, then you can click on that. You can follow those links, and it'll basically help you do that. That's kind of the lowest bar. You have to be registered to vote before you can do anything. Joe, I'll tell people, look, if you don't register to vote and if you don't bother to vote, then you give up your right to complain. You just have to shut up for 4 years.
You know, the self-governing that we have in this country from the time of the Revolution, it's a fragile thing. If you give up your power through the vote, you've really surrendered to what we're getting, right? The big anti-gun politicians, the Michael Bloombergs of the world that control through the purse strings. But we have the power, really, if we get out there and vote our sport, vote the issues, and get informed, man. It's really the bottom line is just be knowledgeable. So when you get to the polling place, you can do something to protect your rights.
Well, actually, we've not mentioned one of my favorite things, and we don't talk about it a lot, that NSSF does, because I use it all the time. People say, well, I want to go shooting, but I just don't know where to go. I want to go hunting, I don't know where to go. Well, heavens to Betsy, as we say. You know, NSSF has that solution online for you. Tell them.
Yeah, we've got a couple of great websites, letsgoshooting.org and letsgohunting.org. They have terrific resources on there to identify not only kind of the ways to get into the sport, kind of the beginners, or not from beginners to expert information, great videos. You can even, I think, print out targets on some of the on the Let's Go Shooting one. But it also has a locator for not only ranges but also hunting property. And there's a lot of great links to resources out there to get the new hunter, the new shooter, or the experienced hunter and shooter out there. And another thing is we're trying to do is to get more mentors involved, right, to take new people out to the range or out to shooting. That's what the Plus One movement's about. But for sure, letsgoshooting.org and letsgohunting.org, just terrific resources there. And I encourage everybody, whether you're experienced or a beginner, to go on there and check those out.
One of the real benefits, I would just say this, particularly of the Let's Go Shooting, but actually both of them, is even if you've been in an area for a while and you say, I know where to go, I've got a place to go, you click on that, you put in your zip code, and you look, you go, holy cow, look at that. There's 3 new gun ranges here, shooting ranges, that I didn't even know had opened. That's the kind of information you get out of this.
Exactly. It's really, we're trying to get a state-of-the-art database here so that when a range opens or a gun shop opens or, there's public property you can hunt on, you can find it easily. You can pop it in. It'll be a GPS locator. You can get directions right to it. It's a really powerful tool, and we encourage everybody to get out there and use it.
Oh, just had a question pop in. Says, are these indoor and outdoor public ranges? Actually, they're all of that. Indoor ranges, outdoor ranges, trap, skeet, sporting clays, long range, pistol, all the rest of it, right?
That is correct. Yep. And so.
Well, Joe, thank you so much. Joe Bartozzi is the president of the National Shooting Sports Foundation. If you want to kind of go to the home, the mothership, if you will, NSSF.org, and you can find everything else from there. I know we can't cover everything in a few minutes here, but we've covered a lot, and I very much appreciate not only what NSSF does, but also now that I get to be a part of it. It is exciting.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me, Tom. Get out there, register to vote, and spread the word. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate everything you do. We will see you in Las Vegas at the SHOT Show. Yes, sir. See you soon. Thanks, Tom. All right, take care. Yeah, that's the other thing. NSSF actually puts on the SHOT Show, the biggest trade show for the firearms industry as well. All right, open lines for you, 866-TALK-GUN.
Have you bought something? Have you sold something? Are you going to buy something? Let's have those range reports. Give me a holler. Just call me at Tom Talk Gun. All right, Oklahoma City. Shamika Carter on her way home driving. She sees a man attacking a woman. She pulls her car over, steps in to help break up the fight because she says, look, nobody has the right to put their hands on anybody. So Shamika jumps into the middle of this thing. Now there's two women and one guy, and she says, well, I'm a little bitty guy. And then all of a sudden this guy, she breaks him up, and then the guy who's attacking this other woman grabs a knife and comes after both of them. She says, I'm itty bitty, and this is a big guy with a really big knife. She says, and then out of nowhere, another guy shows up. But this is a good guy with a gun. Quote, had the gun and basically told him to get down, don't move. We took the knife from him and police came, Shamika said. If I could see him again, I would probably shake his hand and tell him thank you. As soon as he came, the police came, and then he disappeared. I don't know who he is or where he came from. There you go, your Gigi Wag, good guy with a gun for the day. Richard's with us out of Portland, Oregon on 1. Hey, Richard, 410, what's on your mind, man?
Well, I'm looking for a shotgun for my son's mother-in-law. And I was thinking maybe a 410 because she's not very big and she's pretty old. Mm-hmm. So would that be a good home defense shotgun?
It could be. The real question is, I mean, the gun itself is not much of an answer. The gun and some training, and does she know anything? Does she shoot? Do you think she could handle the gun? And would she go out and practice with it, shoot like close range stuff with a shotgun to be good with it?
Probably not. That's the problem.
That's what I'm thinking. That being the case, I am reluctant to recommend that. A 410 shotgun can work. A 20 gauge is much better. And if it's a small person, you get one of the youth models. I generally prefer a pump for people who are not as trained up, if you will. But in this case, if she would go out and just do a little bit of shooting, then yeah, that would certainly work. It worries me if somebody has no background, the gun could be more of a liability. And I would put my efforts into other security systems, lights, locks, cameras, alarms, all the rest of it. If you go throw a few $100s at that instead of for a gun, or maybe in addition to as part of an overall program, I would suggest that. But yeah, there are some little shotguns out there, 20 gauge. I tend to like the 20 gauge better than the 410 for self-defense.
I was trying to talk him into a 20 gauge, but I have one of the Shockwave, 20 gauge Shockwave.
Right.
I thought about that, but then I thought, well, maybe that wouldn't be such a good idea either.
Shockwave is a really cool idea. It's just, frankly, it's a little bit harder to aim as well. I think a short stock, a youth model, 20 gauge, or even a 410 would work better. You might, if you're going to do that, consider putting a laser on it. Now you don't really have the issue of aiming. I mean, everybody understands laser. Dot on target, pull trigger, good to go. But again, the training, even if you just take her out to the range a couple of times, shoot a little bit, get up to within about 5 feet of a cardboard target and shoot it so we see what we're talking about here. This is a close range, shoot them and going to blow a big hole in something here. And then I would go back and then reinforce the locks, lights, alarms system. What you want is layers so you don't ever have to get to the firearms option. But I applaud you for looking into this and to doing this. And, we all have, a lot of us have these relatives who are getting older. Do they have a way of being secure? Sometimes it's more a case of giving them a way of feeling safe. And that's where there are a lot of different options out there these days. I would encourage you to take a look at that. Yeah, I'll tell you, the cameras, we talk about the blink cameras here. We have them at our place. That's really nice to have that early alarm system where you can see what's going on out there. And now that you can talk to somebody on the other end of it, that's a pretty cool option as well. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. When we come back, more new guns have been announced this week. I mean, more than you could possibly even imagine, and there's still more to come, as they say. Your range reports are always welcome here, and we'll have our own range report on that tile tracking system for your guns.